What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to the first 2JZ swap Tesla. I just dropped my video. It's the 17th. It's about 1 p.m. right now. So I'm back out here and I'm basically going to go through and show you guys exactly what I'm doing. Because I had a lot of people commenting and asking me questions like, can I see you work? I want to see how you think and how you're engineering stuff. So I figured this video, I'll be more of a how-to and how I'm basically working everything out. Now, if you follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, I post every single day of the little fun stuff that I'm doing. So make sure you stay tuned into there. But what I'm doing now is I basically tack welded the cross member in and I set the motor down so it's actually setting here by itself without the crane helping it. And now the reason why I did this is because I need to know the spacing between both of the actual wheel wells and the firewall, so this way we can get everything lined up perfectly. So currently I'm fitting the turbo and the intake, which I'll bring the phone over here in a minute and show you guys. But the main reason why it's been a little bit hard to film is because as you're building stuff and fabricating, it's kind of hard to just leave your phone right there while you're filming. Plus, as I'm moving around, I'm outside, so the wind's blowing. It's very hard to film, and I don't have a videographer just yet, so I've been trying to get one for a while, but hopefully I'll find someone that'll work out really well here soon. So if you're one of those videographers that's pretty amazing and can edit, hit me up, definitely. But what I'm going to do now is fit everything, and then I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do the transmission tunnel and how I'm going to build everything else out. All right, let me show you guys what I'm working with. So as you can see right here with the turbo, I got about 2 inches of clearance, which is enough on this side. But the problem I'm having right now is over here on the driver's side with the actual intake. There's not enough space, so I can't get this intake to lie completely down. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually grind the tack welds that I have for the cross member and slide it over about maybe a 1/2 inch or 1/4 of an inch this way to give it a little bit more space. Now, if it doesn't fit, unfortunately I have two options. I can either cut the intake manifold and make it fit, or I can actually cut a few pieces of sheet metal out of the strut tower. Now, I really don't want to touch the strut tower because I want to keep the structural rigidity of the car, and I'm trying to keep it as close to stock as I possibly can without going all crazy, even though I got a roll cage in it. But I want to keep that there. So I'm going to see what I can do first before I do this. Now, once this is all shored up, then we're going to go ahead and move back to the actual transmission. So I got everything to clear. I moved this over about a 1/2 inch. I still got about 1.5 inches for the turbo. But unfortunately with the intake, I actually had to cut into the strut tower. So I'll have to make some bracing and stuff. But so far it's got enough there to keep it structurally strong. But I'm probably going to do a cross member anyway. So it'll all balance out at the end. But I got about maybe about a 1/2 inch between the actual intake and that. So it's pretty close. But we're moving along. So what I'm going to do now is hang the intercooler and start looking at the piping, making sure that fits, and then work my way back towards the transmission rear diff. So the sun's about to set, but I want to see if I can put this inside there once just to make sure it all fits, and then I'll roll it in the garage. But we put the adapter plate on and everything looks like it's fitting fine. We have our 2JZ out of a Lexus IS 300. We have the Nissan 370Z transmission, and everything else looks like it's bolted up pretty good. I ordered a short shifter, so this will be basically from here. The shifter will be there, so we save about 6 inches. So everything looks good. What I'm gonna do now is just roll it in there and see what happens. So the firewall is not as wide on this side, so I probably got to cut about 1.5 to 2 inches out of here. And then once I do that, we should be able to slide the transmission in. Yoga. The sun is setting, but the motor is inside. Everything actually fits perfectly. So opened it up on both sides. Now I'm just going to start cutting out the sheet metal, but it looks good. It's a new day, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up where I left off yesterday. I have the transmission fully put in there. I put the seat in here for the main reasons of I want to see where the actual firewall is going to go over, how close is it going to be to the seat, and how much space we have in between. All right, guys, just finished with arts and crafts time. So I got the whole tunnel laid out. That's what this cardboard's for. And then I got some other stuff made out of some paper here. So hopefully Monday, which is going to be like the 21st, I'm going to take these out to a sheet metal place, have them get it cut, and then I'll start welding everything in. So we got to get this thing to paint by Wednesday to make the deadline for SEMA. So I'm getting it cleaned up now because rolling around in all this crap is not working. But once I start welding inside here, I want to have all this clean so it looks good and the welds will be seamless. because this thing's been covered in dust for the whole time, but now it's looking pretty good. And I can primer the engine bay as well. Now that that's all cleared up, and I can finish welding up the cross member. All right, I'm cleaning up the engine bay. I got my flat black paint and it's looking good. I also did the inside of the wheel wells just to kind of different up from the white because I want this to be more of a cleaner look. Now, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna be doing here. I may paint this to match the inside of the actual car, whether it's the cage is gonna be either metallic gold or Miami blue. This may be Miami blue or metallic gold. I'm not really sure yet. The only thing that's gonna be different is the cross member once I finish welding that. But now that everything's washed and cleaned up, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the transmission tunnel. So these things right here are cutouts that I made with paper templates, and I took them to Precision Tube and Laser here in Las Vegas. Shout out to those guys, and they made me this stuff in a single day, which is truly awesome. They definitely saved my ass because I had to bend the actual, the transmission tunnel and a bunch of other stuff, and I tried doing it here and it just looked really bad. So I took everything down there, they cut it basically perfectly for me. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the plate on top of here, so this is completely flat, and then this piece is actually gonna go in right here to cover the ugly gap for the door. So this way it looks, voila, showroom ready. Now, the reason why I don't film myself a lot when I'm working on this is because I always think it's boring, because my 6x6 Mercedes videos, I did a lot of stuff like this, and people in the comments section are hilarious. They're either like, Lucky, you don't talk enough in your videos, you're just working, or Lucky, you talk too much, show more working. So I can't make anybody happy, so I'm gonna try to do this, show you guys how my process is. This video is gonna be a little bit of, like I said, talking, fabricating, filming me actually doing stuff. I had somebody tell me that, you know, oh, I don't look like I fabricate cars because I don't have tattoos, which is hilarious. So it doesn't matter what you look like. If you like fabricating, building cars, I think that's one of the things that's hilarious. I walk around in a polo shirt and you'll never guess in a million years that I actually can weld, fabricate, use an English wheel and do cool stuff like this. But this is part of the passion. I don't think anybody looks like a fabricator. You just are. I have a friend of mine, one of the most amazing TIG welders I've ever seen. The guy looks like Pee Wee Herman. So let me go ahead, clean these up, and we're gonna start putting them on. So I was getting ready to install the transmission tunnel, and this is actually how I do it, but I ran into an issue. Unfortunately, this is 10.5 inches wide. I actually need it 8.5 inches. I don't know how I made the mistake. It's 100% my fault, but now I don't have enough space between my seats, because if I do this, I'm not gonna have literally any space, and unfortunately I'm not very skinny, so my fat ass is not gonna squeeze in here. So now I have to call them and redo this and make it 8.5 inches, and then it should fit. So what I'm gonna do now is see if I can salvage this piece and use it for some of the other stuff, just to see if I could seal up the firewall. So I'm trying to salvage the part that I already have made. What I'm doing now is I'm doing some pie cuts right here. And my goal is to basically cut out of both sides, close it together, and then be able to fit in between both of the seat braces, which I'll show you here in a second. So I'm gonna try to use this for the front half of the tunnel and then remake another piece, so this way I don't lose a day, because I'm gonna have to submit everything and then wait another day for them to turn it around. So my fault. This is part of the thing about building something custom. Sometimes you measure 30 times, think you got it right, and then something falls through the cracks. So I'm gonna try to see if this works. Fingers crossed. So we got the motor in one more time. We're gonna do some final fitment across there. Now that you see that everything is primered in black, And we're gonna go over here to the transmission. You can see I have the level. So basically I'm balancing it out right now where it's completely flat, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the sheet metal above that, which is this piece right here. So once I get this welded up, hopefully that'll be the final time. I'll take the transmission out, I'll tack weld everything, then I'll use seam sealer to make everything waterproof, I'll primer it, and then the very next step will be basically cleaning up the rest of the tunnel, grinding down some welds, and then hopefully a friend of mine is gonna come over this weekend and we can start on doing the body panels and doing all the body work and paint the inside of the cage, primer everything, and then we're gonna take this thing to go get wrapped. So I got the first part tacked in. I'm just gonna fit this, trim this around, and then basically drop this down to fill that gap. And then I have another piece that's sitting over here that's basically gonna kind of bridge over that, and that should fill in the gap. Tomorrow I'm gonna pick up the rest of the tunnel right here so we can put that in place, and that will fit up and everything will look good. So we're getting there, we're getting close. All right, guys, it's Friday the 25th. It's probably around like 11:30 at night, and I just finished up for what I'm doing right now. So I'm gonna show you all the stuff I did today and what else we have to do, because there's only 7 days till SEMA. So the very first thing on my long list is the actual body work. Saturday morning, I'm gonna start grinding, filling in all the holes using seam sealer and getting this into primer, because like I said, we only got 7 days, so I need it to dry for a few days before we actually wrap it. We come around to the front and I am still waiting for the wiring harness and ECU. I don't know if it's gonna come in before SEMA, so fingers crossed, we'll see if that goes. But we made enough space for the intake. I'm working on that now with the throttle body. I gotta finish up the piping for the intercooler and make sure everything fits with the turbo. Go over to this side and I'll show you what I've been working on here for the last few hours, which is the transmission tunnel. So I got everything lined up the way it's supposed to be. I like the whole square blocky look because it lets my seats go right up to the very edge, and I'm a little bit fat, so I gotta make sure I have enough space to get in between both these for extra large seats. All I gotta do is finish up the sheet metal panels here, which I'll do after I hang up the camera tonight. Re-weld this, seam seal the whole thing, and primer it, so this way we're good to go. As you can see, more body work, and then I got the spoiler already drilled and fitted. I'm not gonna put that on till the car gets wrapped. Right here we have our exhaust, which looks like Lamborghini Aventador. It's gonna be a center exit exhaust where this tail light is. That's where the exhaust is gonna be coming out of. So I gotta cut that in the bumper and then weld on the piping to make sure it goes all the way to the front of the exhaust. Right here I have the turbo, which I basically already fit. Now I'm gonna start doing the oil lines. Clock this back so the oil return points downwards. We have our intake, our throttle body, got to start getting all that stuff for the wing. Let's walk over here, show you all the fun stuff I got on the bench here. Now, this is our e-brake, which is awesome. Like I said, it looks like a lightning bolt for Tesla, which I think is funny. This one will be installed probably as soon as I'm done primering that. I got to install the pedals, same thing, probably tomorrow. Now, all these suspension stuff I was supposed to put on a week ago, but I'm waiting for the coilovers. They still haven't came. This and another thing are stuck in customs. I think it's the wiring harness for the motor and the ECU. So I don't have coilovers and I don't have the wiring harness. So it's going to get right down to the wire. So hopefully they show up in time. I got the rest of the stuff I got to mount, the intercooler, our awesome steering wheel for SEMA show. I'm going to switch to a racing one once I get back, but this is what our steering wheel is going to be. After that, I am going to go ahead and fit the dash, put that in there. I have to trim around the roll cage and other stuff like that, but that should be it. So it's absolutely insane that less than 60 days, I started with a very boring Tesla Model 3. I cut it in half, shortened it, made it a two-door coupe, added a roll cage. Shout out to Jeff. Thank you so much for helping me install that. Added a wide body, and then swapped out the electric drive chain for a 2JZ. So we did all this in less than 60 days. And when I say we, I mean basically me. So if I can do this, I know you guys can do this, because I'm watching all these YouTubers. Oh man, I've been at the SEMA crunch. I've been working on this project for a year. This shows you that you can be a regular dude in a regular garage. Like I said, I'm not doing anything fancy with my amazing Harbor Freight tools, and I'm making it happen because I know how much people want to get in the automotive industry. I know how much people love cars. And so the purpose of this build is to show you that anybody in any garage with any skill level can get started with something fun like this. Now, I have to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Copart. If you want to buy something like this and make a fun project, Or if you want to get a clean title car, you can go to Copart Select and get a repo, a forfeiture, something like that, where you can just hop in there, turn the keys, and drive away. And Copart wanted to help me show you guys how easy this is to get started. Now, you're not going to be a master fabricator right from the get-go, but all that matters is that you get started, because I don't know what happened years ago. They gave you this whole thing of you got to go to college, you can't work with your hands, working with your hands is below you. There are lots of people that are dying for custom stuff like this. And even this thing, once I build it, I might turn around and sell it, put it on Cars and Bids, not sure yet, but this is something you can do for fun or for a living, and Copart will give you the ability to do that. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. I post daily of all the fun stuff I'm doing to this car, so this way you guys can see me cutting around dirty. I'm trying to answer everybody's calls and messages when it comes to this, because my last video, I had a bunch of people saying I talk too much, and then the video before that, I was working a lot, and then I wasn't talking enough, so then I said I wasn't talking enough. So I've been going back and forth trying to make everybody happy, but I figured this video's got enough of everything. So huge shout out to everybody that's watching this. Please support this video, because I love doing builds like this. Don't get me wrong, I love talking about the car market. I love flipping cars. I like being in the car business, but this is my true love, my passion, my hobby. So please like, share, comment, have everybody, your grandma, everybody jump in and watch this video, because I love to do stuff like this. The goal of this channel is to do one car like this a month, not a SEMA build, but just buying something maybe regular from the auction or off of Craigslist, fixing it up, then turning around and selling it and showing you guys how to make a profit with it while also having fun and learning how to fabricate. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next video.